In a bustling town hall, an unexpected moment unfolded when an 8-year-old girl posed a simple yet profound question, prompting Donald Trump to reveal a deeply personal narrative woven with themes of faith, loss, and redemption, captivating the audience into a hushed silence. All were touched to the core, their tears flowing freely in response to what unfolded next. A soft murmur filled the air of the Church Fellowship Hall in Shreveport, Louisiana, where the sound of folding chairs gliding across the polished floor mingled with hushed conversations. On that evening, the space, usually reserved for Sunday potlucks and Bible study, had taken on a peculiar ambiance. The unmistakable presence of Trump commanded the modest hall as he took his place at the front of the room. All were well acquainted with his distinctive hand movements and sun-kissed hue. Yet, this evening, he seemed notably restrained, perhaps reflecting the weight of the moment. In the midst of the crowd, one person stood apart, not because of her size, but because of the quiet intensity that surrounded her. The gathering was filled with local residents, retirees, and families, all eager to absorb his message. In a quaint little town, there stood 8-year-old Lily, dressed in her most cherished Sunday dress. She clutched an old leather-bound Bible tightly to her heart, as if it held the secrets of the universe within its pages. It was a cherished gift from her late grandmother, its gold lettering and pages now telling a tale of weathered beauty and faded memories. Her mother, sitting next to her, had softly whispered before they reached their destination, "You can ask about him, but only if you possess the bravery and honesty to do so." Lily had nodded, her heart racing, as she accepted this challenge. For several weeks, she had been crafting her question, jotting it down in her notebook during recess, and softly murmuring it to herself as she nestled in bed at night. It was not a question born from innocent wonder, but one that weighed heavily on her mind. As the evening unfolded, Trump wove a narrative filled with his usual themes, touching upon policies, achievements, and the vision he holds for the future of the United States. The audience offered occasional nods of agreement and scattered applause, yet the atmosphere felt muted compared to the vibrant energy of his usual rallies. As the minutes slipped away, Lily's small hands clutched the edges of her Bible with increasing intensity. She lingered in anticipation. Finally, the moment arrived when the floor was open for questions. With eager anticipation, the adults quickly lined up, ready to delve into discussions about local matters, national policies, and even to share a few kind words about his signature red tie. Lily paused, her small figure curling even tighter into her seat. Yet, she sensed the moment had arrived when her mother offered her a subtle nudge. Her heart raced with such intensity that she believed the whole room could hear its frantic rhythm, and her legs trembled beneath her as she stood there. As she moved forward, the seemingly endless line began to fade, and the lively chatter of the room softened around her. Onlookers couldn't help but be drawn to the small girl, clutching the oversized Bible close to her heart. Amidst the gathering, soft murmurs floated through the air. As her moment arrived, Trump cast his eyes downward upon her, a flicker of warmth crossing his face. "Pray tell, what question do you seek to unravel, dear young lady?" When he asked, there was an unexpected warmth in his voice. Lily gripped her Bible tightly, her knuckles paling as she drew in a sharp breath. With a voice that quivered yet held firm, she finally asked the question that had echoed in her heart for months. "What does God mean to you, Mr. Trump?" The room fell into a profound and enveloping silence, as if the very air had paused to listen. As her question hung in the air, heavy and palpable, the gaze of the crowd flitted anxiously between the girl and Trump. Trump, known for his quick retorts, chose not to reply right away. He turned his gaze toward her, then to the Bible she held, and in that moment his demeanor shifted. Yet, just as he was about to utter a word, the atmosphere in the room thickened with a palpable sense of expectation, urging each person to lean in closer, eager to hear what would come next. Trump's silence resonated with an almost overwhelming intensity. The silence was unusual for someone who had built his reputation on steadfast assurance and rapid retorts. For a long while, he held his gaze on Lily, his usual confidence giving way to a tenderness that felt almost fragile. Once more, his eyes were captivated by the Bible she held, and his lips parted, yet silence enveloped him. The room's collective gaze enveloped Lily, making her petite form seem even more delicate as she shifted ever so slightly. Indeed, Her question was not meant to stir the pot or incite a debate. It was authentic, stemming from a deep desire to grasp something far beyond her own existence. The genuine emotion resonated beyond the clamor of political discourse or shouted catchphrases. The crowd held its breath in anticipation, as if the very atmosphere were suspended in time. Even the softest cough and the gentle creaking of chairs appeared to vanish into thin air. At long last, Trump raised his hand just a touch, seeking to steady himself as he leaned against the podium. He commenced with a question of great importance, his voice resonating with a calmness and depth that was unusual for him. There was a time when the answer to this question eluded me. The revelation took many by surprise. Before a captivated audience, Trump, known for his steadfast assurance, was revealing a moment of doubt. He turned to Lily again, and his demeanor shifted yet again, this time adopting an expression that felt almost like that of a caring guardian. He continued, sharing that he too had a multitude of questions about the divine when he was around your age. Each Sunday, my parents would take me on a journey to church. As I sat in those pews, my eyes wandered to the stained glass windows, and I found myself pondering if the divine was truly listening to my whispered prayers. He hesitated once more, his eyes drifting toward the audience, seeking to gauge their reaction. His fingers danced lightly against the wood, a soft rhythm as they lingered on the edge of the podium. My father would frequently share with me that faith resembles a ladder. With each careful step, you rise, and at times a flicker of fear grips you, whispering of the possibility of a fall. Yet, you continue your climb, driven by the promise of something truly valuable waiting at the summit. At that moment, his intentions eluded my understanding. His words echoed like a shadow, suggesting a desire to keep me quiet. A soft laugh echoed among the crowd, momentarily easing the palpable tension in the air. Lily, however, held back her smile. With eager expectation for an authentic reply to her question, she held her gaze steady on him. The tone of Trump became even gentler as he leaned forward just a bit. Yet, as I journeyed through life, I encountered a myriad of challenges that shaped my growth. I faced moments of loss, experienced failure, and found myself in situations where my resolve to continue was tested. In those moments, it often seemed as if the presence of the divine was distant from my side. At times, a fire of anger ignites within me towards him. I also pondered the notion that he had completely forsaken me during other moments. The atmosphere was electric. It marked a shift from the polished eloquence and practiced dialogue they were used to encountering. This was a heartfelt, straightforward experience. Yet, I must share this with you, Trump proclaimed, his tone taking on a more resolute edge. In my journey, I have discovered that faith often transcends the need for answers, especially during those shadowy times when solitude seemed to envelop me. One must embrace the notion of purpose, even when the full tapestry remains hidden from view. A deeper force is at work here. He turned his eyes toward Lily, who had eased her hold on the Bible just a bit. Bathed in the glow of fluorescent lights, her wide eyes shimmered with a captivating brilliance. He spoke with a measured cadence, and God embodies that purpose for me. He serves as a gentle reminder that our journey is not complete, even in moments of stumble or setback. He continues to urge us to climb the staircase, even as it seems to teeter on the edge of collapse. Yet, before the weight of his words could fully settle in, Lily's eyes brimmed with tears, and the audience started to whisper gently, feeling that something remarkable was unfolding. At first, Lily's tears fell softly, a solitary drop tracing a path down her cheek as she held her grandmother's Bible close to her heart, gripping it with all her might. Then, as the echoes of Trump's words lingered in the air, her shoulders began to quiver. The onlookers watched intently, their murmurs rising in volume, yet none dared to break the spell of the moment. With a gentle instinct, her mother reached out, her hand gliding softly across her back, offering comfort in that moment. "It's all right, my dear," she whispered softly, yet Lily shook her head in defiance. It was not sadness that lingered in the air. Instead, a deeper, more complex emotion wove its way through the heart. Unbeknownst to her, the words spoken by Trump resonated deeply, awakening a cherished part of her youthful heart that she had meticulously shielded for years. It seemed as though Trump noticed her reaction and took a step back from the podium, his demeanor unusually restrained. Could you kindly share your name with me? With a soft touch, he asked. She barely lifted her voice above a whisper, hesitating as she uttered, Lily. With a gentle smile, he remarked, What a beautiful name. Indeed, Lily, the simplest questions often hold the greatest weight, reminding us of the things that truly resonate in our hearts. With her eyes brimming with tears, Lily held his gaze and nodded. My grandmother would share her thoughts, always with a gentle touch in her voice. Even in moments when his voice seems distant, she expressed that the divine is ever attentive. Trump's expression revealed a silent blend of respect and understanding. With a steady gaze fixed on the audience, he inhaled deeply, ready to weave his narrative. Indeed, this young girl has bravely ventured to ask a question that often leaves many adults feeling uneasy. Can you share more about the importance of God in our lives? Answering this question is no simple task. It calls for a deep dive into our own souls, urging us to face our vulnerabilities, fears, and the unknowns that linger within us. The room hung in a heavy stillness, each word he spoke settling like a thick fog over the gathered crowd. For a fleeting moment, it seemed that Lily transcended the image of a simple young girl clutching a Bible. She embodied a profound and greater truth. The atmosphere of the evening transformed entirely due to her courage, lifting it from a mere town hall meeting to a deeply intimate reflection on the essence of humanity and belief. His voice carried a quieter weight than before, as Trump continued to weave his narrative. In this realm we traverse, we are constantly on a quest for answers that lie beyond our own essence. We often think that power, success, or money can fill the gaps in our lives, but in truth, they fall short. True solutions often bring us unease. The characters that inspire us to reflect on our own beliefs and principles. What are the beliefs that shape my essence? What essence do I embody in solitude? He took a moment, his gaze returning to Lily. Gratitude to you, Lily, for bringing that to my attention. Many grown-ups I encounter lack the depth of understanding that you possess. The audience erupted into soft applause, yet Lily seemed oblivious to the moment unfolding around her. A gentle glow of quiet pride took the place of her tears, which had finally come to an end. With a gentle sweep of her dress sleeve, she dried her cheeks and looked up at her mother, who returned her gaze with a radiant smile and eyes shimmering with emotion. As the applause faded, a shift occurred in Trump's demeanor, hinting that the tale was not yet concluded and that the audience was on the brink of being drawn deeper into his unfolding saga. Yet, the room grew ever more hushed, as if the very atmosphere was holding its breath for Trump's next words. His gaze flickered over the sea of faces, a subtle movement at the podium, before returning to rest on Lily. His expression carried a heaviness, one that seemed to arise from depths far beyond the realms of politics or public life. In my youth, the era of Trump unfolded, and now his tone has taken on a gentler quality. There was a time when I thought I had it all figured out. My journey was fueled by an unwavering desire to achieve, a burning ambition, and clear goals that guided my path. Yet, there was one particular moment in my life that illuminated just how little control I truly had. He took a moment, letting the words seep into his mind. The air was thick with anticipation as the listeners edged closer, eager to absorb every word. A feeling lingered in the air that Trump was on the verge of revealing deeper insights into his personal life, a rarity for him. My brother Fred, he went on. He had a remarkable depth of kindness and sincerity that I had never come across before. He radiated a warmth, a gentle kindness that I couldn't quite grasp in that moment. Yet, Fred found himself facing challenges. Indeed, he wrestled with his inner shadows. My family and I poured our hearts into helping him, yet it fell short. In a brief moment, Trump's voice trembled, and he took a moment to clear his throat. His passing filled me with a deep, seething anger. Seething with rage towards him, consumed by frustration with myself, and grappling with anger directed at the divine. It was beyond my understanding why someone so remarkable, brimming with extraordinary potential, had to leave this life so soon. Her youthful face bore an expression that seemed to carry the weight of countless tales, and Lily's gaze was unwavering, locked onto him. The others in the room seemed to share the same enchantment, their faces reflecting a captivating mix of curiosity and understanding. In the aftermath, Trump continued his pursuit, while I distanced myself from the divine for a considerable time. I found myself pondering, what could possibly motivate him to allow such a thing to happen if his intentions were sincere? Why would he select someone like Fred and leave me in the shadows? With a deep breath, he held on to the edge of the podium, his grip steady and resolute. Yet, the unfolding events revealed a transformation. One night, Fred's face appeared in my mind, though I can't quite tell if it was a dream or just a memory lingering there. He bore an expression of contentment, this lively, whimsical expression that he once held dear. I caught a glimpse of him pleading with Don to keep his temper in check. Your efforts are needed. The crowd stood in hushed anticipation, each word hanging in the air, heavy and palpable, as if they were woven into the very fabric of the moment. In an instant, the distant hum of cars faded away, leaving behind only the rhythmic pulse of hearts and the unmistakable cadence of Trump's voice. I came to the realization, he said, his voice steady, that faith isn't about understanding every detail. It's about trusting that there is a reason, even when it remains hidden from view. Perhaps Fred sought to share this wisdom with me. As he made his way back to Lily, a gentle warmth seemed to envelop him. Thus, when you seek to understand the role of the divine in my journey, I shall share this tale. Even in the face of adversity, he fuels my determination to keep pushing forward. He serves as a beacon, illuminating the truth that our journey is not merely for our own gain. He is the beacon of hope, shining brightly even in the darkest of times. This time, Lily's eyes sparkled with a light anew, yet her tears held back, refusing to cascade down her cheeks. With a reverence that spoke volumes, she held her grandmother's Bible close, her posture straightening as if she were embracing a treasure beyond compare. Yet, just as the listeners seemed to settle into the gravity of his tale, one individual in the crowd lifted their hand, breaking the stillness and steering the focus toward an unexpected path. From the back of the hall, a man rose gradually, his hand held high in the air. His rugged face bore a serious expression marked by the passage of years filled with hard labor. His presence was so unremarkable that a passerby might glide by without a moment's pause. Maybe a father, a skilled mechanic, or someone who occasionally found their way to church when life allowed it. His voice, in contrast, sliced through the stillness like a bell's clear ring. The words of Mr. Trump, he conveyed, were intentional and carefully considered. Years have been devoted to the journey of exploring my own beliefs. Your reflections on anger, uncertainty, and optimism have led me to ponder if we have all been too fearful to confront our challenges. What is your perspective on how this adds to the problem? The question seemed to take Trump by surprise, yet he quickly found his footing. As he leaned slightly on the podium, his gaze locked with the man's, a silent exchange unfolding between them. He started with a thought-provoking statement. I think many of us struggle to admit that we aren't as strong as we wish to project. Faith, he continued, is a complex and tangled journey, often feeling like a desperate cry into the void. Yet, the truth is, that very aspect is what makes it so powerful. The aim is not to achieve perfection. Instead, it is to strive forward, even in the absence of all the correct solutions. He settled back into his seat, a gentle warmth spreading across his face as he acknowledged with a nod. The crowd whispered in unison, yet it was Lily's voice that broke through the silence. Though small in stature, my grandmother always expressed that faith resembles the act of planting seeds. Though their growth may not be visible at first glance, trust in the journey and believe that it will unfold in time. In a moment that felt almost magical, the often reserved figure of Trump was illuminated by a smile that radiated warmth and sincerity, revealing a side rarely seen. He suggested that your grandmother possesses great wisdom, and indeed, she is right. Faith resembles a seed. It may not flourish in the way one expects, yet this does not mean it is absent, for it is nurturing itself in unseen ways. The exchange breathed new life into the ambiance of the room. As the words hung in the air, a ripple of understanding passed through the crowd. Heads began to nod, glances were exchanged, and soft murmurs filled the space between those seated together. The town hall, once a formal gathering, transformed into a warm and personal experience, where we collectively reflected on the trials, uncertainties, and fleeting moments of beauty that touch us all in our journeys. An elderly woman, her silver hair elegantly tied back in a ponytail, was the next to lift her hand. With a quivering voice, she shared, "I lost my husband last year. Ever since, my heart has been filled with a tempest of anger towards the divine. It seems that the foundation of my belief has crumbled entirely. Do you think the time has passed to find it once more?" As Trump neared the edge of the stage, his voice, though soft, held a steady resolve that captivated the audience. "It is never too late," he proclaimed. "Faith is a treasure that never truly fades. It patiently awaits your embrace, often reappearing in the most surprising situations, during those serene, hushed moments of life." With tears glistening in her eyes, the woman gave a solemn nod. In the room, some souls seemed to share a deep connection, their emotions palpable, while others sat in quiet contemplation and a few gently wiped away tears with tissues. The evening transformed from a mere exchange of questions and answers into a tapestry of connection, as Trump's words wove their way into the hearts of the audience. The unfolding events would weave an even tighter connection between them. The air in the room buzzed with an unmistakable intensity, marked not by chaos, but by a palpable sense of shared openness and raw emotion. The people who expected a standard political conversation found themselves immersed in an experience that was deeply intimate. Lily's simple question seemed to have opened a door that had long remained closed, and now it felt as though no one wanted to step back through it. Trump rose from his seat, casting his gaze across the room, taking in the scene with a keen eye. He shared that there is a lesson he has gathered throughout the years. Faith often reveals itself not in sweeping gestures, but in the quiet, tender instances, like a helping hand offered, a compassionate ear during times of sorrow, or a courageous question posed, reminiscent of Lily's bravery. We are beckoned to reflect on the importance of those moments. The audience sat in rapt attention, hanging on every word that filled the air. Once characterized by an unwavering authority, Trump's voice now carried a note of humility that struck a chord with those listening. Lily became the focal point of his gesture. "This young lady illuminated for me tonight that faith transcends mere discussion. It is a quality we embody, and when we truly embody it, it radiates outward." Lily offered a subtle smile in that moment, her cheekbones still aglow from earlier. She felt an irresistible pull towards her mother, who leaned in to share a secret, igniting a spark of joy that made the girl's smile blossom just a bit more. Trump's tone grew ever more determined. "In this age, it seems the fabric of our world is fraying, pulled apart by the threads of politics, differing opinions, and the chasms of distinction. Yet, belief possesses the power to bring us together. The essence lies not in uniformity. Instead, it is in acknowledging that we are all climbing the same staircase, progressing one step at a time, despite the differences in our paths." The applause began as a gentle murmur, hesitant at first, but soon swelled into a vibrant wave of sound. The crowd rose in appreciation not just for Trump, but for the significance of the moment, for the bravery Lily displayed in asking her question, and for the thoughtful replies that resonated throughout the gathering. As the applause faded, Trump stepped forward for one last moment. "This evening, I will bring my tale to a close. One must delve into the essence of faith within oneself, embracing the journey of discovery without fear of the unknown, no matter how uncertain the answers may be. Faith transcends mere knowledge. It is a journey of belief." He paused, letting the significance of his words linger in the air before he pressed on. "If you discovered something that resonated with you tonight, cherish it, nurture its growth, and share it with those who need it most." The room responded once again with a wave of applause, this time mingled with heartfelt embraces, firm handshakes, and a sprinkling of tears. A gathering of unfamiliar faces, who had initially crossed the threshold with mere polite nods, now found themselves entwined in a tapestry of tales and shared laughter. A collective burden began to fade, giving way to a serene sense of hope that blossomed in its place. Lily, now standing with her mother, watched as Trump stepped away from the podium. As he approached her, he lowered himself just enough to bridge the distance between them. "Thank you, Lily," he said, his voice soft yet filled with genuine emotion. "Within you lies a bravery that surpasses that of many who have walked this earth for twice as long. Hold on to this truth always." With a gentle nod, she reached out her small hand to grasp his. With a steady voice, she expressed her gratitude to Mr. Trump for his response. With a gentle smile, Trump turned to her, then shifted his attention back to the audience, raising his hand in a wave. Even after he left, the room buzzed with lively chatter, as those gathered were clearly moved by the unfolding events that had just taken place. With a gentle yet unwavering tone, Lily looked up at her mother. Surely Grandma would have been pleased, wouldn't she? Her mother beamed, and tears glistened in her eyes. Indeed, she would have felt an immense pride, my dear. The woman would have been utterly amazed. The echo of the message lingered in the hall, slowly fading away into the silence. In the realm of curiosity, the most surprising revelations emerge from the boldest questions, and within those revelations, we unearth the hidden facets of our being that we never knew were absent. Pause for a moment to reflect on your own beliefs and consider sharing this tale with someone who might find solace in it today, should it strike a chord with you. We invite you to join our community by subscribing to our channel, where you will find more tales that inspire, energize, and bring us together.